Hello, soulmates. Welcome to class. My name is Justice. So, in this class, we're going to be making exactly what you saw on the thumbnail. And if this is what you would like to watch, please kindly watch to the end to get the best part of it. Okay, so for us to start, here I have Ankara material. This Ankara material is about 2 yards of Ankara material. Now, if you want to make something longer, that means you're going to get a bigger amount of Ankara, either 4 yards will be enough depending on how big and how long you want it. But this is going to be kind of short, but not too short. Okay, I might be using the whole of the Ankara length, which is about 45 or not up to 45, but above 40. Okay, so I folded it into two completely. This is a leftover fabric. I folded it into two, and I'm going to fold it again, now making it into four. Now while folding it, I'm going to use measurements. I'm not just going to use everything. I don't want to use everything. I want to measure the way I want it to appear on my body. I don't want it too big and I don't want it too small. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my measurements. The hip is 42, right? So I'm going to do 42 divided by 4. That will give me 10.5. So the 10.5, I'm going to be adding 2 inches to it. 10.5 here plus 2 inches wherever it stops, and then I'm going to add extra 1 inch for sewing allowance. So the 2 inches is just to make it big on my body. Okay, that is how I want it. So what I'm going to do is that it's either I take this hip measurement straight up and down, or I still take my bust measurement depending on how I want it to appear, either straight or um a kind of shapy. Okay, even though it's not a fitted gown. Now the sleeve is not going to be cut together. I don't want the sleeve to be cut together. I want to attach the sleeve. I want an inset sleeve. So I'm just going to concentrate on the gown, after which I'm going to cut the sleeve. And that is the reason I'm going to also take my bust measurement and still add 2 inches to it. I hope this is clear for an explanation. So we go right into the cutting. So here I'm going to create a border line. I'm creating a border line here. So my measurement is going to begin from here. First of all, this folding into four is for both the front and the back. Now the part that is totally closed, you can see that this part is open. That will serve as the side of the gown. This part is going to serve as the front of the gown and the center back of the gown. So from this border line, I'm going to mark the length. So from the borderline, which serves as the shoulder line, I'm going to mark my neck width, which is 3.5. That is what I used, plus ½ inch joining allowance. And then at the lower part 1.5 for the back. The shoulder is 15 divided by 2, that is 7.5, plus sewing allowance. Drop down for the shoulder is 1 inch. Okay, so from shoulder I'll mark my bust, I'll mark the waist, I'll mark the hip, and then the length of the skirt. Now on the bust, divide by 4 plus 3, which is 2 inches for the allowance and 1 inch for sewing allowance. The same thing at the waistline, the same thing at the hip line. Divide by 4 plus 2 plus 1. Okay, 2 inches for to make it big and 1 inch for sewing allowance. Now from the bust line, I went up by 1.5 to get my armhole depth. Okay, and I'll connect it just the way it is. So once that is done, I'm going to cut everything out. Now you can see that at the waistline, you can decide to take it straight if you want it to be too straight, and you can decide to shape it a little if you want it to look a bit shapy. So for me, I want it to look a bit shapy, and that's why I shaped at the waistline a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it. Now this is the way it is. Looking at the waistline, I don't want it to look very much shapy because this is not a fitted gown, so I had to come out a bit. So you can just decide to leave yours straight or shape it a little. Now we're taking out one part of the material that we've cut. One will serve as the back and one will serve as the front. So I'm going to measure the depth of the front neckline. 9.5. This 9.5 is because what I'm going to be adding to the neckline is going to overlap, so it wouldn't show the bust. If you know that you don't want your bust area to have a kind of little exposure, even though it's not going to expose so well, you can take it higher, either 8 inches, 7 inches, or depending on how you want it. So at this 9.5, I'm going to go in by 1 inch. 1 inch. I want it to overlap a little so it covers up too. So once I have the 1 inch, I'm going to bring my ruler from the neck point. I'm going to connect it to this 1 inch and I'll mark it. Remember that this is a V shape, so this V shape does not expose so much. So this is what we have, like so. This is how I'm going to cut it out. Okay, so this is what we have. And I'm going to open it up. Okay, so once I open it up, I'm going to join the back to the front shoulder, the back shoulder to the front shoulder, so that I can measure the neckline round. So now that I've joined them together, I'm going to measure round, and what I have is about 27.2, okay, from front to the back. So I have a long strip of 30 inches above the normal measurement, so that it's better to have it longer than to have it short, and the width is about 2 inches or 2.5 inch, 2 inches or 2.5 inch. So I'm going to make a notch here. I'll make a notch here, and that will enable me to fix it properly without having issues. Okay, so I'm just going to join it right round. I'll use my pin to hold it down and then take it to the sewing machine and join it right round. Now this is what we've joined. Remember where we joined from the notches round, and this is what it's looking like. So I have the second fabric, or what we want to use it for the design, and I'm going to open the dress up like so, because we're only working on the front and not on the back. So I'll put them together, if possible iron it, then weave it so that it will be easy for you. Weave it before joining, or after joining you can weave it. So I'll place this fabric a little piece like this so that I can get the design that I want. The design is a V shape kind of design, so I'll place it this way, make sure it's where I want it to be. Okay, I'm not going to top stitch it. I'll just sew it from the under after getting the shape that I want. So this is how I'm going to get the shape, right? Measure from the midpoint to one side, measure it to the other side, make sure they are equal, and from there take it down to the length of the fabric. Okay, so I will cut this out now and then we'll continue. So I'm cutting it leaving an allowance. I'm not cutting exactly what I marked. I'm cutting it leaving an allowance. You can see the way it is. So I'll flip it over like this, sew it, and then put it back, fold the sides and top stitch on it. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold it now. Then you can see the way I've flipped it over, sew on top, and then bend it over again and top stitch on the parts that I have folded. It makes it easier and smoother and more beautiful for you, right? So if you have watched this video to this length and you've not subscribed to this channel, I don't know what you are waiting for. Please hit the subscription button, right, so that you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. So this is the sleeve. Like I said, insert sleeves. I'm just going to cut a basic sleeve with freehand. Basic sleeve, come down by 4.5, mark the width of the sleeve plus 2 inches, which was the allowance we added to the fabric. and then use my free hand to connect it like so. I don't know, this is just how I like to cut my sleeve. Whichever sleeve I'm cutting, free hand goes it or does it better for me. Okay, even though I have a video tutorial on how to draft a basic sleeve. Sorry. Okay, it seems I've talked enough. I'm talking too much. So this is the basic sleeve, and I'm going to be attaching something below to make it longer because it is short at this point. So I'll attach something below before sewing it to the armhole. I hope this is making sense to someone. Okay, so if you have any question, please do well to ask. Now this is the sleeve. I attached something to it, a satin, the same color, and then I decided to add a pocket to it. You can do any shape of pocket that you want. This is just a round pocket. I decided to pleat the upper part, and then a long strip to cover the edge. You can see the way I folded it inside, and I'm going to top stitch on it. Okay, so once I top stitch on it, I'll then fold the pockets like so and top stitch on top of the fabric where I want to place it. And that is what we have. This video is gradually coming to an end. If you've not subscribed, please do well to subscribe to this channel. We'll be bringing you new tutorials on a regular basis, possibly every day of the week. Okay, so join the sides now. Once the sides are joined, everything is finished. We hem the lower parts, the hemline, and we are done. You're going to see the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gown that we've been making. Ta-da! Yep. Do you like it? It looks so beautiful and I love it, love it, love it. Thank you for watching. See you next video.